What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fellas Show podcast, whatever you want to call it. I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Pizza, aka Ryan.
That is me.
Today, we're going to talk about game sequels that we would like to see and games that are and hopefully are coming out next console generation that we think will define that console generation. So, do you want to start out?
Yes, I'm gonna go on straight away and start talking about Halo Infinite. I think it looks great, but I have been a Nintendo fan my whole life, so I don't really have quality control on what's great. But the gameplay, no matter who you are, it looks very, very good. I've never played
Oh,
a Halo game in my life. I've never played a game by Xbox Game Studios in my life, but I am very pumped to eventually get to Halo Infinite because I'll be playing all the games in order. I don't know a thing about the lore of the series. I don't know a thing about Master Chief besides the fact that he exists. But I'm so excited to get to learn his story and get to Halo Infinite, the game that's gonna apparently save Xbox this gen.
yeah. The only Halo game I really played was Halo Reach. But besides that, I haven't really played any Halo games. But I saw the Halo gameplay at the Xbox showcase. The gameplay looks good. The graphics look okay. They're delaying it, so I'm assuming that they're going to work on the graphics. I don't really care about the graphics as long as the gameplay is good, and the gameplay looks great. So I am excited for Halo Infinite. It's going to be the first, well, now not anymore, but it's going to be one of the games that I pick up when I get my Xbox Series X. But another game that is going to define the next console generation on the other side is going to be the new Spider-Man game.
Yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales. I'm excited that he's getting his own game after all this time with the games being about Peter Parker and such.
Well,
And it really does look like it's
I
going to
think
be
I think
definitely the
it's
best looking Spider-Man game ever.
I think it's just an expansion though. It's not a full-fledged game.
People act like it is. It's definitely going to sell PS5s, even if it is just an expansion.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. It looks good.
I've seen gameplay. I've seen gameplay of the PS4 Spider-Man, and I think that it looks very great. But it's gonna look even better on the PS5 in like
Yeah.
8K or whatever they're pushing for.
Um, I think just 4K. Um, just better graphics in general and better frame rate. But yeah, Sony exclusives like that sometimes make me wish that I had a PlayStation. But I'm happy with the Xbox brand. Um, what's a game sequel that you would like to
Especially
see?
fine with it because it's my first major graphics console.
Yeah. What's a game
Um,
sequel that you would like to see next gen? Nintendo, um, Xbox, or PlayStation?
Most games I like don't really need a sequel. They're good as they are, but um, I'm a big Tetris guy, and Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is coming soon. Tetris Effect Connected is almost out, but those aren't sequels that don't exist yet. Now, for sequels that don't exist, I'd say the upcoming Sonic game, wherever that is, I'm excited for that because Sonic Generations was great, but they kind of dropped the ball. And I think this is Sonic's 30th anniversary in 2021, so they had better blow us away with whatever's coming because it's been absolutely months for the next one.
Yeah. I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6. I talked about it in the last episode, though, so I won't really get into it here. I want Rockstar to make Bully 2. I've played Bully. It was really good. Um, it's actually a T-rated game, so it would be a nice refresher from all the M-rated games that they push out and create. So I think a T-rated game would actually sell a lot better because parents would be more willing to get it for their kids. However, I think that I'm surprised that Bully didn't become its own franchise like Red Dead and GTA did. I'm surprised because it has a lot. It has the material to become a franchise, and I think hopefully Rockstar is pushing more games this time because they only had like 2 or 3 games this console generation, one of which was a port of Grand Theft Auto 5. And I think that if Rockstar can bump up their games, and one of them is Bully 2, I will be very happy.
I want to see on Nintendo's side a new Punch-Out game with entirely new characters. Stop reusing the NES and Super Nintendo ones. Just entirely new. Little Mac's next big journey.
Well, of course you need Glass Joe in there. Like
You
Glass.
don't need Glass Joe. He wasn't in the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah,
He's not
they.
necessary. I mean an entirely new roster. Just Little Mac and Doc Lewis are the only ones who stay.
I think they should do a mix, but more new characters. But they should keep some old classics like Glass Joe, Super Macho Man, the works.
Because
Cause
even
what?
though Punch Out was only on the Wii, it was one of the best looking games of the system, and it still wows me to this day just because of how well they nailed the style of how everybody looks as opposed to the NES original. And
Mm-hmm.
to see that in the current gen graphics, especially on the fabled Switch Pro everyone keeps talking about, I think that it would look very, very good.
I think that they're not gonna do a Switch Pro.
Because the company that the
They're just gonna do a next gen Switch.
well, what would they call it? Switch U?
I have no idea. They'd have to think about that. Um, what's another game that would define a generation? What do you think?
I'd say Forza, but that's every generation. I'd say Gran Turismo, but nobody cares about Gran Turismo. So, how about Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah, they're coming out with a new Ratchet and Clank for the PS4. That's going to be a good exclusive. Um, Crash
It,
Bandicoot would have been, but it's not an exclusive anymore. It's coming to the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox Series X. Um,
I'm even though I have no intention of buying it, I think Crash 4 looks very good. He's more expressive than he's ever been, and that's saying something for how wild the Crash Bandicoot games are.
you know what? I think that Ubisoft should come out and make is it Ubisoft? Whoever makes it. I think there should be a new Rayman game.
Rayman's the Ubisoft mascot.
Yeah, Ubisoft is what I was thinking of. I think
Rayman
that
Legends is one of my favorite video games of all time. My favorite platformer of all time for sure. I am obsessed with that game. Everything about it. It's the result of when perfect music meets perfect gameplay.
I think a 3D Rayman game, the revival of those would also be very interesting. Even had a 3D
There aren't
Rayman
that many
game.
3D platformers out that people care about. And that would be pretty cool to see it get revitalized after years and years of shoot 'em up games, like ever since 2007 when Call of Duty blew that genre. It's been all over consoles, especially Xbox, which it's known for. It's the place to be for those games.
Agreed. Um, Call of Duty Black Ops looks gorgeous. It looks amazing, and I think that they will. I believe they said that they will. It will get a next gen upgrade graphic wise on the Series X and the PS5. That will usher in the new generation of games for the Xbox Series X and the PS5. And I think I might get it. I haven't really bought a main Call of Duty game when it came out before. This year I bought Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and World War 2. I've played a good chunk of World War II. I haven't really played Black Ops 1 or 2. I played Warzone with my friends, I'd say about 20 times maybe. A little more, a little less. But this looks good. It looks good. And I actually said a couple months ago, I was talking with some friends, I'm like, they should do Call of Duty in Vietnam. I think that'd be really cool. And then a couple months later, Call of Duty's going to Vietnam. And that's another thing that got me excited because I always thought that Call of Duty would be really good in Vietnam. And now that's what's happening. So I think that Call of Duty is going to usher in a new generation of that genre of games because it looks absolutely gorgeous, especially um, the what was it? The round table that we saw, the one where Ronald Reagan was in. That looked beautiful. You have any other games, Ryan?
I know that graphically and new game wise, these consoles are going to do great, but let's talk about backwards compatibility with the past generation of video games.
Xbox automatically has PlayStation beat. Every single Xbox One game is backwards compatible with excuse me. Every single Xbox One game is backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X. Every single game that was backwards compatible with the Xbox One is backwards compatible with the Series X, and some of them are getting graphical upgrades. PlayStation, a
And
select
yeah,
100
PlayStation
or
is
a,
definitely
yeah,
not as good as
yeah,
Xbox.
a select 100 or so PS4 games will be backwards compatible. Not all the PS4 games. A select few, around 100, I believe, PS4 games will be backwards compatible with the PS5. Originally, before the Xbox Series X was even revealed, I was considering getting a PS5. I I said um, that if it's backwards compatible with the PS2, the PS1, and even the PS3, because I assumed that it would be backwards compatible without PS4, that I would get the PS5. Not backwards compatible with the PS1, not backwards compatible with the PS2, not backwards compatible with the PS3, backwards compatible with some PS4 games. PS2 could play all PS1 games. PS3 could play all PS1 games, and some could play all PS2 games. PS4 skipped out on backwards compatibility, and it looks like the PS5 is going to do the same thing.
Glad it has at least one console.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that Sony would care about their faster backwards compatibility, but I like to think the reason why they're not doing it for this one is because of what happened with the PlayStation Classic.
Um, I don't know about that. I think that's its own separate entity. It was just Sony trying to copy Nintendo again and failing miserably, just like with Little Big Planet Racing, PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, PlayStation Move, and the PS Classic. It was all just Sony trying to copy Nintendo. But I think that let's face it, Sony has better franchises than Xbox has. Uh, like you know, just the franchises that they've come up with over the console generations. They have a better library um, overall than Xbox does, and I think it's a shame that they're wasting the opportunity for people to play old PlayStation games on the new PS5. I think that is a wasted opportunity, and I think they're going to regret it soon because if you're looking for backwards compatibility, hey, this Xbox can play old Xbox games. Why don't I pick up this? You know? PS5, it already has name recognition. People are going to buy because it's the PS5. If it was just a slice of bread and it was called the PS5, people would get the PS5. But I think if Xbox can pull its act together, get some exclusives out in the next couple of years, and really ramp up uh, their production, I think that they can do a lot better than they did this console generation because the Switch has only been out for around 3.5 years. I believe before COVID, in fact, the Switch beat the Xbox One in sales. And keep in mind, the Xbox One has been out for what, 7, 8 years? The Switch has been out for at that time like 3 years and already beat the Xbox One. So the Xbox Series X really has to ramp it up because what I think is going to happen if they don't do good this generation, I think that they are just solely going to become a third party. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to become a third party, and they're going to provide games to the PS franchise, or be PS6, whatever, and Nintendo.
So if Xbox doesn't end up doing good this generation, what could their lineup be? What is their lineup going to be in the future? Like, what do they have that is interesting that they haven't announced yet?
You ready for the Series X? But
Yes. What are some prominent franchises that are in relation to Microsoft? The Series X
Banjo
hasn't announced big
Kazooie,
new titles for.
Banjo
Definitely
Kazooie,
a new Banjo game. It's been a
Conker's
very
Bad
long
Fur
time since
Day.
the last good
Conker's
one.
Bad Fur Day is a really good one. Um,
That as well. And there's
they're
there's
making it.
only like one major Conquer game.
They're making a new Fable. Let me
Of
see
course, they
here.
announced that. We don't know much about it though.
Yeah, but that was a pretty good announcement. Oh,
There has to be a new Gears of War somewhere down the line. Gears
yeah.
6.
Yep. Um, I know they're making a new Forza. Sea of
Flight Simulator
Thieves.
should come to Series X eventually.
Yeah, Flight
A new Sea of
Simulator's coming.
Thieves?
A
I
new
feel like a
Sea of
new Sea of
Thieves.
Thieves is too soon because it's already very big on its own online. And
I
I think
know.
it's getting graphically enhanced for the Series X.
I know. I'm just
Rare
saying.
All Around is doing very good this time.
I know. I'm just saying. Floating around ideas for the future of Xbox exclusives, because I believe Phil Spencer said that they're not going to have a lot of exclusives in the first couple of years, which blows. But what can you do?
It's something Xbox fans are used to.
Yeah, the
But
golden
on
age.
PlayStation side,
The golden age of Xbox was definitely the 360. You can continue.
there are lots of games they haven't announced that they're eventually going to put out. Now, I know The Last of Us Part 2 just came out, but Part 3 will probably come out because I don't think that the story is over with how Part 2 ended. There's, of course, a new Little Big Planet, but a new God of War, a new Persona game, the rest of the Final Fantasy VII Remake. PlayStation has a lot up their sleeve, and PlayStation 5 has only just begun. It isn't out
Um,
yet. We don't
I
have a price or the
enjoyed
release date.
I enjoyed watching people play Until Dawn. I enjoyed that. So I think if they can do a
I
sequel,
remember seeing commercials for Until Dawn.
yeah, I think if they can do a sequel to Until Dawn, that would be amazing. Um,
So Crash Bandicoot is getting a new game, but Spyro doesn't have one yet.
I I want particular series to come back, but I know it's not. I want the Arkham series to come back, but I know it's not because they're coming out with two different DC games at the moment. One of which is a Suicide Squad game, and the other is in a different universe where Batman and Jim Gordon are dead. And they officially said that
The
the Arkham series, it's not related to the Arkham series, especially since Barbara Gordon can fucking walk. So, I that's a bummer. But
but the
I think maybe in the future, if they
the
could, I'd like to see Arkham come back. What were you gonna say?
The Batman Arkham series is always heavily rumored to have some sort of collection or new installment, and it's still a series that a lot of people like. So I think that WB Games is waiting until they get their buyer to make the new Batman Arkham game, or to announce it because maybe it's already being worked on. We don't know
Yes,
because
another thing.
WB.
Another thing. If Microsoft buys WB Games, that would be a game changer. All the Lego games would be Xbox exclusives. All the Batman games moving forward would be Xbox exclusives.
And that is interesting because PlayStation has Spider Man as their big series. So imagine if Xbox side got Batman. It would be Marvel versus DC, but in video games.
That would be very, very interesting. Um,
Every other year or so, Microsoft likes to buy studios. So eventually down the line, this generation, some studios are going to be bought by Microsoft.
yeah.
So there's not going to be EA. I think they could buy 2K. That would be very big. Um,
Yeah.
Activision, no, Activision's too big.
Yeah. With superhero games, I already spoke on the DC side. That new Suicide Squad game where you kill the Justice League, and that new Batman not Batman game. But on the other side, Marvel is coming out with Avengers. And the interesting thing is that Sony, the PS5, is going to have exclusive DLC where you can play as Spider Man. That is very interesting.
That's
And
unfair. Spider Man is an Avenger.
Yeah, but Sony, and they like to keep everything locked tight on the PS brand. So that sucks for
It's
anyone
going to keep a
using
lot of
Xbox.
people from buying Avengers on Xbox. That is
Uh,
a very low blow. Does Xbox have anything like that as opposed to PlayStation? Do they have anything exclusive on their own, DLC
nope,
wise?
I don't think so.
Now, let's talk about controllers for the next generation. Controllers.
Um,
The PlayStation 5 controller is kind of off putting to me. Did they announce a black version? Because I don't think they did.
I think there probably will be a black version. It's a hit or miss with me. I think it looks okay. Xbox, I think they're going with the same controller, which kind of sucks. But I enjoy the controller, so that's okay. But the one thing is that they still, it's 2020, the year 2020. We are going into the new generation of gaming, and we still have Xbox controllers that require fucking batteries. You will need batteries to play Xbox, the new Xbox, in 2020, 2021. It's ridiculous. Like, come on. There's no reason you should have to have batteries. Like, we're in the age of charging. Like, come on. It's just annoying at this point.
You could just plug an Xbox controller into the wall, but I've never played an Xbox console, so I don't know if that's true or not. Do you flat out need batteries? Are there controllers that don't require batteries?
There are not controllers that don't require batteries. However, I think there's a portable battery pack, but I don't think it's that great.
Still, that's very
Another thing,
unnecessary. That shouldn't be something that's needed.
another thing with these consoles is going to be the price. I believe that
Oh, the price.
I think that the prices are either going to be the same, or that PlayStation is going to be more expensive than Xbox. Rumor is that Xbox is going to be $400. I think it's going to be $500. I want to reach for 450. I think 450 would be awesome. I know it's not going to. I think it's going to be 500. Rumor is 400 though. Rumors that the Xbox Series S is going to be 200. I think the Series X is going to be Series
That's
S
ridiculous.
is going to be 250 or 300. It's not going to be any more than 300. But I doubt it's going to be 200. That would be dirt cheap for a next gen console. But I would love for the Xbox Series X to be 400, but I think it's going to be 500 or 450. But I would assume 500. Now, Nintendo is in the dormant stage of gearing up for the next console generation. The leaks and the rumors are starting to circulate. I think what they're going to do, I would say the Switch probably is 3 more years, 2 more years. I think 2 more years before they go to the next console. But I believe that they are going to replicate the same formula with the Switch, and they're going to do another Switch. Now, this gamble could really, really, really pay off, or it could sink. Because Nintendo has done this twice, with the NES and the Wii. The NES was called the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the next console is called the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The SNES was very successful. Now, the Wii is the best selling Nintendo console of all time, over 100 million units. So they named their next console, which was very similar, the Wii U. It is the worst selling Nintendo console of all time. I believe that the GameCube, the GameCube sold more than the Wii U. Now, if they're going to go with the Switch thing again, and that it's rumored to be as powerful as a PS4, which would be dope. But if they're going to do the Switch thing again, I think this gamble would pay off. The Nintendo Switch is popular and successful because it is a handheld and a console. It is a portable and a console. That's why it's successful. And to have a new next-gen Switch that would be as powerful as a PS4 or Xbox would be insane. That would be incredible. It would it would still lag behind. Nintendo's always lagged behind ever since the Wii in console generations. The Wii was basically just a beefed up GameCube. The Wii U was on par with the 360 and the PS3, even though at that point it was the Xbox One and the PS4. And the Switch is on par with around, I would say, PS4, Xbox One. Not on par, but like the graphics look a lot better than the Wii U, but they're kind of on par with, I would say, a PS3 Pro or an Xbox 360 Pro. They're not there. They're nowhere near the power. I think they're close to the power of a regular PS4, Xbox One, graphics wise. I think they're like halfway there, maybe? Not anywhere closer, but they're definitely nowhere near as powerful as the PS4 Pro, or the Xbox One X. But I think a Switch, even though it would still be behind the current gen, which would be Xbox Series X and PS5, I think a Nintendo Switch that would be as powerful as a PS4, a handheld as powerful as a last gen console, would be insane. I think it would sell enormously well, even if they're still doing cartridges, which I think is going to be the case, because let's face it, it's Nintendo, they're still going to do cartridges. I think that would be amazing. The fact that you would have basically a PS4 portable that plays Nintendo games. That would be insane. Graphics-wise, that would be insane for a portable to have that much power. Now, it's Nintendo, so obviously price is going to be far higher than the Switch now. If the leaks and rumors are right, actually not really leaks, but just rumors are right, and that they're going with this new Switch for next gen, I think it would probably be 350 or 400. And I wouldn't be worried about games because Nintendo literally thrives and survives off of its exclusives. And I thoroughly believe that they will have exclusives lined up for next gen. But however, we're talking 2 or 3 years now. The Nintendo Switch is banging right now. I'm gonna look up right now.
What holds Nintendo back?
Nintendo Switch sales. You go.
What holds Nintendo back sometimes are their gimmicks. Every generation, they always do something to innovate, and sometimes that helps them, and sometimes it's the very reason why they fail. Now, they failed with the Wii U because they tried a gimmick that involved half a portable, half a console. You walk away and it disconnects. And with the Switch, it was probably one of the best gimmicks they've ever done with doing the handheld mode thing. But in an age when a lot of people care about graphics, they lose some of the hardcore gaming market. But Nintendo always has the hearts of the casual market, and going into the next generation, I believe they'll still have it. The hardcore markets will always be half PS5, half Xbox. So we just have to wait and see what happens.
In 3.5 years, the Nintendo Switch has sold 62 million units. I thoroughly believe in the next 3 years, or the next 4 years, that it will surpass 100 million units with 62 million units. That is a lot. And the thing is that they're on a shortage. Like, they're trying to get them back out. They don't have enough. Like, they're being thrown off the shelves. You can't get any Switch net right now. You can't. They're not
To
available
this
anymore.
day, Nintendo's been so successful,
They've been too
people are
successful.
still buying Switches. So they're like covered for the next 3 years. But after that, whatever they do, I hope Nintendo does well because seeing those IPs always puts a warm smile on my face.
I think that
Nintendo will never screw up with their games. It's very obvious what they'll do every generation. But the new IPs, nobody can really say what they're gonna do because who could have predicted games like Splatoon or ARMS?
yeah, I think that Nintendo will definitely have at least one new IP. But I'm excited. The games that I'm excited for Nintendo, I'm excited for Metroid 4 and Metroid Prime 4 and Breath of the Wild 2. I'm excited for Breath of the Wild 2. I played through Breath of the Wild once. I beat the whole game once. I haven't touched it since. Well, I used to touch it from time to time after I beat it because I got the Dark Link skin. And I like to fool around for gits and shiggles, but I enjoyed Breath of the Wild. The only thing I really didn't like is the ending when you beat Ganondorf and it still says on your quest thing that you need to beat Ganondorf, even though you beat Ganondorf. So, like, it doesn't feel like you've beaten the game. It's a fucking annoying, but I'm excited for Breath of the Wild, too. And I'm also excited for the fact that it looks like Ganondorf's coming back in not beast form, so it won't be Ganon, it'll be Ganondorf, like actual Ganondorf. I'm excited for that. I really wish a trailer would drop soon. I think the next Nintendo Direct, I don't know if it's going to be a partner Direct, whatever, mini Direct, general Direct, the next Direct that has Nintendo stuff, I hope a trailer drops. I want to see a trailer. I
I
want to see
hope going into
gameplay.
this generation they do more Nintendo Directs.
I want to see gameplay. I want to see plot. What about you?
PC's automatically fine this generation. Nothing is going to change with PC.
Yeah. Um.
I'm fine with Breath of the Wild 2 happening. I'm just not very excited for it. I beat Breath of the Wild. I got all the memories, but I don't feel like I should get Breath of the Wild 2 because Nintendo's going to do the thing they always do and make their game $60 without ever putting it on a sale. So that just further gets rid of my intention to buy it. And I'm sure in 4 to 5 years I'll be able to emulate the game just fine.
I'm. Yeah, Nintendo likes to take a big chunk out of my wallet because I am indeed going to buy the Super Mario collection. I'm not pre-ordering it because I've never pre-ordered something from Nintendo, and I don't want to start now. I have a reminder set on my phone. I'm gonna purchase it when it comes out. The only thing I don't like is that you have to have Joy-Cons for Super Mario Galaxy. Like, you have to. You can't play it handheld. You have to have Joy-Cons. You have to play on the TV, or you have to play handheld, but you have to use the Joy-Cons like Wii remotes. I don't want to fucking do that. Like, couldn't they have just put an
Speaking of
option?
things that are outrageous,
Well, I don't think it's really outrageous, but continue.
This gen, some companies are making their games $70.
What company?
EA specifically, the upcoming Madden or FIFA or whatever is going to be $70. I'm sure most of the companies aren't going to do this, but that's an option now, and it is terrifying.
Well, I think that companies. Well, I don't think so because companies said they were doing $70 and people ripped them to shreds. So I don't think they're going to be $70. If they are going to be $70, I don't think they're going to make as much money because not as many people are going to buy their games. But back on the subject of Nintendo and the Super Mario 3D, I'm excited because I haven't really played Super Mario 64 at like in its raw form. Like, I played, obviously, Super Mario 64 DS. I played it on the DS, and for some reason, I got it on my Wii U. I don't know why. So I played it there. I have a Nintendo 64. I have Super Mario 64 for the Nintendo 64. The graphics, it just doesn't look great. It looks 2D because it's on a new TV. It looks 2D. So I don't want to play it on there, but I will play it on the Super Mario Collection. I will play it there. And I've never played Sunshine. I've always wanted to play Sunshine. For years now, I've been considering buying Sunshine on for the GameCube, but the price is just too high. For years I've wanted to play Sunshine, and now I'm going to be able to play it in widescreen. Not 16 by 9 or whatever, widescreen. I'm going to be able to play it widescreen. I'm hyped about that. I can't wait to play Sunshine. And yes, I will play Galaxy over again because I love Galaxy.
I could play Sunshine right now in widescreen in 4K. I have it right in front of me.
I know you can because you emulate it, but not everyone has a good PC. I record and edit all my videos, Matrix Machine and Hooligans, on my shitty laptop. So,
One more thing I can think about with this next gen is how they are handling box arts. With PlayStation, they have this futuristic box art. It's white with a blue border, just to complement the controller and the console. It looks fine. It looks kind of like PS4, but with inverted colors. And Xbox is just making it say Xbox, just so it works for Xbox One and all the other Xbox letters. And
Originally, Xbox was gonna have like a big sticker on it, but then people like don't fucking do that, so they're like, okay, we won't.
So they listened to them before the console even came out.
Yeah. And yeah, consumer feedback does work.
Do you think there's any other topics?
No, I think we've really covered everything. We've had a really free-flowing conversation for the past 35 minutes. I think it's about time we wrap this up. So, do you have any last words?
Are there any last minute predictions for the next? I think sales wise, PlayStation is obviously going to win. I think Xbox is going to beat Nintendo this time because
I
whatever they do can't be as successful as the Switch was.
I don't think so. I think that PlayStation will win at sales at first, but I think if Xbox can really pull itself together, I think they could possibly beat PlayStation. But that is a good prediction. Do you have anything else to say? Last words?
They'd have to get the Japanese market to beat PlayStation.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I'm very excited for the next gen. I'm going to get a Series X for whoever gets a PS5. I hope you enjoy the games on there. I hope they announce really cool stuff, and I know for a fact they're going to announce really cool stuff. And I hope for all the Nintendo players watching that they don't disappoint you.
Yep. We are definitely two hardcore Nintendo fans. But besides that, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to give this a listen. And as always, we'll see you on the motherfucking flip side.